everybody. Welcome back to the Smarketing CONNECT podcast. I am your host and one of the co-founders here at Smarketing CONNECT, Tom Libby. I almost forgot to introduce myself. but today I have a special guest with me, one of our newest members of Smarketing CONNECT. And Adam, I tend to do this very frequently where I'm not really going to say very much. I'm not going to introduce you. I'll let you do that for yourself. So I guess I'll just jump right into the first question, which is, tell us about yourself. So in a few sentences, who are you and what do you do?
So I'm the son of a retired circus clown, and that's sort of a good background to the way that my life has gone. Currently, professionally, I do 2 or 3 things really, really well. One of those is SEO, and I do it in a very particular, specific way, and we'll probably dive into that a lot more. The second thing that I'm really good at is being efficient with my time and the people that I work with and my responses. I'm a big supporter of inbox zero, and that extends not only to just my email, but every single notification on every platform, on every app on my phone has big fat zero notifications on everything at all times. And it drives my wife crazy sometimes that I'm like that, but it's true. So I guarantee that anyone who reaches out to me for any reason, whether it's on a social network or message or phone, I will respond in less than 12 hours, no matter what. The third thing about me is that I love taking risks, calculated risks, in investing. So I've done several angel investments, private equity, real estate, technology, all kinds of stuff. And so I love talking about how to use money wisely, whether it's in my small business or in investing in other people's businesses.
Amazing. And by the way, I can vouch for that because when Adam and I were communicating on LinkedIn, it was very quick. He was responding very quickly, so I can actually vouch for that statement. Do you mind saying the name of the company real quick? I know we didn't kind of touch base on that. It wasn't part of the question, so I apologize. But what's the name of the company that you're talking about today?
Yeah, my main company that I flow all my cash flow through is called Tork Media, and the operational side of things, it's fairly simple. It's a big network of websites that I own and or administer.
So how does that work for, let me ask it a different way. The companies that you typically work with, is there like a specific size, or does it like what, and I don't know if you want to answer it via like revenue or do they have to have a particular body filament in the company, meaning like a CMO or a marketing person? Like, do they have to, is there criteria that you typically have with the companies that you work with?
Well, the criteria that I know about and that I've tracked, it's usually SEO / digital marketing agencies, occasionally PR agencies too, that have at least 5 full-time W-2 employees and operate mostly in the English language. You don't have to live in the United States, but I don't speak any other languages. All of my sites are in English, and so that's the audience that I cater to. And the size as far as revenue goes, that doesn't ever seem to be a huge indicator that someone will be or won't be a client of mine.
Not relevant.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So one of the things on this podcast that we like to give little nuggets to small businesses about, must-haves, and typically in the tool perspective, whether it's, a specialized CRM or, I don't know, today's hot button, the AI of the world, which I have my mixed emotions about, but we won't get into that today. But do you have your favorite like must-have or something like that that you would recommend to any small business owner that's starting out?
Yeah, I would say if you have a website, and I would bet 99.9% of all small business owners have one, you should build it in WordPress. It's free, and it is the most widely used CMS on the entire internet for a reason. And it's the one that I think is the easiest to work with for SEO and for most B2B projects. If you run an e-commerce company, I think that's sort of an anomaly. You should use Shopify in that case. But if you're getting in front of clients and you use your site for lead gen and it's not like selling direct to consumer stuff, then use WordPress.
Gotcha. And I don't necessarily disagree with that either. I found WordPress to be, to your point, it's definitely easy. I think the only thing easier, but you lose, and Adam, you may be able to chime in on this, but I think you lose some of the SEO value is when you're using things like a Wix or a Weebly or things like that. It seems very easy from a non website building person's perspective, but it doesn't give you the same power on the flip side to the search engines. Would you find that same thing?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this reminds me of conversation you and I had about your
Yeah.
current site, which is built with not WordPress. I can't
Yeah.
remember who you built it with, but
Yeah, we're not, it's not important, but you're right.
you have personal experience, and I do too. Some of my sites are not built in WordPress, and it's blatantly apparent how much more difficult it is for them to get traffic and to be optimized. Because the cool thing about WordPress is that it is open source. And so people are constantly developing new tools that integrate other tools like ChatGPT, for instance, and AI. And they can build and collaborate and continue to improve it much faster than just about any other CMS that's privately owned, not incentivized to do so. Their incentive structure is much different than the WordPress community incentive.
Yeah.
So they're just the whole incentive structure, just that alone makes it much better in my opinion.
Agreed. Okay, so moving on to another version of this, having the tools in place are great, but go back to you personally, so to speak. So what is like the biggest challenge that your customers bring to you to help solve? Like, so they're asking your help to solve a problem. What tends to be the biggest challenges that you help them solve?
Typically, it's it's a combination of tactical fulfillment when it comes to SEO and also being efficient with their current team, whatever size it might be. So most of the time I'm working with agencies and account managers and agency owners, and all those guys have different tasks and responsibilities that they have to fulfill every day. The account managers in an SEO agency, they're responsible for making their clients happy through organic rankings. And to be able to accomplish that, the account manager has to be good at acquiring links constantly and writing content constantly and pitching journalists and all these things that take up so much time. It's hard to get good results for clients on a continuous basis. That's why there is so much churn in agency clientele, because you're just bumping up against the reality of how difficult it is to do SEO. So I come in and I make those account managers' lives very much more simple and streamlined because I remove that pain point of having to find constant sources to get links because I have them. I own and or operate them, and I simplify and streamline that process of acquiring links so much that a lot of these account managers that I work with, their entire month's worth of work is done in a day or two once
Oh,
they start
wow.
with.
Wow.
And I had that experience myself. The reason why I started Torque Media to begin with was because when I was an account manager at SEO.com over a decade ago, this was my very first job out of college. that's what I spent more than half my time doing, was butting my head against a brick wall of link acquisition. And back in those days, you could get all kinds of really crappy directory links, forum spam, all that stuff worked back then. And we would do that as part of our strategy. So did everybody else.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on and algorithms have shifted, the things that work now, that they're a lot of them are still the same. And so that's what I've been building my core service to do, is to always be working within Google's guidelines for how link acquisition should work. And I am continuously building that network of sites that I control to, again, make my agency clients' lives so much easier, but also way more efficient with their time and budget.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So this next question is a little different, but I think your entrepreneurial spirit, I think, will be better served for this question more than your experience as a in the media world. So we again, like I said earlier, we like to give people like little nuggets, especially good ones. So this is really geared toward advice. So somebody watching this is thinking about starting a business, or sorry, not starting a business. They just started a business and they're thinking about bringing on either a sales consultant, marketing agency, or a marketing consultant on a fractional basis. What kind of advice do you give those business owners when they're looking to bring those people on?
I've never been asked that question before. So my gut reaction here is go with somebody that has experience in your industry and also has the ability to create a strategic plan and carry it out. I think those are three separate skills.
Yeah.
And if you can find somebody with the combination of all three of them in equal measure, that's the marketing person that's going to get the most done for you as quickly as possible, because I think their motivations are in line with what you need as a small business owner, which is a return on investment.
For sure. I probably have about 20 follow-up questions to that, but we won't go there today. I think because I first of all, I love the fact that you've never been asked that question before. But second of all, I think you're right. But I think there's a lot of digging you can do to determine and really kind of identify which of those three are the most important, because you may not be able to find all three, right? You may not be able to find all three of them, but if you find two out of the three, or maybe the most important piece of that puzzle, that might be still worthwhile to go get that particular person or agency. So that's awesome. Okay, so this is kind of a goofy question. I love asking this question. This is one of my favorite. And by the way, I've probably interviewed I don't know 1,000 salespeople, and this is one of the questions I used to ask them on job interviews, and I thought it would be fun for the podcast. So I have asked everybody this question, and I get some very interesting answers. But Adam, I asked this on a lighter side of things: is if you could be a superhero, who would it be, and tell us why?
I would be, I'm just going to go with my gut here, Superman. And saying that out loud makes me realize you may not have been asking for an actual superhero
No,
from.
no, I was.
Okay. So since I was right, then the reason I'd like to be Superman is, culturally speaking, that's how I want to seem to the people I interact with. I know myself well enough now that I know that it's important for me, for my self-worth, to be seen as a sort of Superman in real life. And that's one of the reasons that I've spent so much time getting really good at a few particular things, because I like to be the Superman of that thing. And we've already talked about two of them, the link building SEO side of things, as well as responsiveness.
Yeah.
I am the Superman of responsiveness with everyone I come in contact with. I'm faster than anybody else at being responsive online because I've asked and I've had people comment almost 100% of the time at how quickly I respond to them. And I love having that be part of my personality, part of my super strength, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I like how you leverage Superman's skill set with your. That's awesome. That's probably the first time anyone's ever done that, by the way, Adam. Usually people pick somebody random and then they just go off on, because I love the way they look in their outfit, or I love there's always some like randomness to it. I think you're the first person that actually took the skill set of the superhero and turned it into real life stuff. That's pretty awesome. Okay, as we wrap this up, one of my favorite things to do, I'm kind of a pay it forward kind of person. And if I can give shout outs or kudos or things like that to people, I really love to do that. So in this podcast, what we like to do is we like to ask our guests, is there somebody outside of your own, somebody outside of you, like somebody in our world. So they should be a sales or a marketing consultant or of some sort that you just think does an awesome job and you just like to give them some kudos. And if you do, we'll tag them in this post when we post it on LinkedIn so they can hear the fact that you thought they were a good asset to you and your team. So do you have anybody like that you'd like to kind of promote out and pay it forward to them?
Yes. There's one particular guy who I've been working with. All of his clients are also agencies, and he's helped 800 agencies over the last few years scale up their operations. And he's helping me do the same thing right now. So he's top of mind for me. His name's Jordan Ross.
Jordan Ross, Ross.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's the
Awesome.
man.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, if you're listening to this, we're gonna tag you, and hopefully you can get a little bit of a boost from the tag in the LinkedIn. So Adam, I think that's the last question I had for you. I appreciate it very much. We're obviously going to have you back on the podcast for a couple other episodes of things that we like to talk about, but I appreciate your time and effort on the podcast today. Thank you, and for everybody else, thank you for joining us, and keep selling.